We're live. Oh, you know what? I don't have anybody else talking to me in here. But Manny messed up. He didn't get this set up from the get-go. It's all Manny's fault. Here, let me share. I gotta share this referral link so I can get other people in here.
When I talk here, will you hear my echo?
I don't have headphones, so I can't hear anything. No, my headphones are over here.
Right.
All right, we got 10 people in. I see listening. All right, Rusty, you want to join? Manny, you can join when you're ready. Unleash DPIN, you're definitely going to get financial advice, just not from me. At least not live on air. All right, let me pull up these questions here.
I feel like if I join from here, you're going to hear my echo.
I don't hear you at all.
Okay.
You're supposed to have both these set up today. What's going on, man?
I know.
All right.
Meeting. Oh, actually, I need the StreamYard link. That's why.
Just anybody listening, can you give me a sound check that you can actually hear me? Because I'm not getting anybody else, and I'm not getting the feedback on my end. Just give me a thumbs up.
Did you send Rosie the StreamYard link?
It's in the marketing chat. Should be good. Everything's on the right dot. So, all right, Mr. Clock is all right. He can hear me. Great. Start messing around here. We're already late. 6 minutes. I'm sorry, people. I'll take the blame. It's all my fault. That's fine. I'm just going to start from the top down. Do you have a date for the DIN NFT sale and TG? Although I guess I need to hand this one off to Manny because he's been heading off the DIN NFT side. Oh, we got it. Oh, look at that. We got people in here. So Manny, add him to stage. Rusty, stage. Yeah, your microphone. You might want to mute your microphone, Manny, until it's your time to talk. And then when we switch it off, I'll switch you over. And then blur your background so you don't see all my secrets in the background there, guy. He's got the whiteboards in the background. It's going to be like all the things. Jeez. I put all my private keys on the password back there on the whiteboard. Manny, I'm going to mute myself. Why don't you tell us about the DIN NFT sale that's coming up, dates, and to answer the TGE question, we don't have a date, but we're working on it.
Hey, guys. Can you guys hear me?
You can hear you, Manny.
Okay, sweet. I can't hear anything. It all feels very muffled. All right, so DIN NFT sale, our hopes, what we're aiming for is next Wednesday. So the 9th. The idea with the DIN NFT sale is it will be on the Deep website and it'll be a dApp, and you'll be able to buy your DIN NFT with credit card and or crypto. And you won't see what the DIN NFT is. You'll just get like the NFT itself, but the image will be unrevealed. And we're working on getting all those images done and ready to go. And then we'll have a reveal where you refresh your metadata and you'll be able to see what you get. Now with those images, it'll take about, I think at least another week to get all of them. But we might just, that's still like a V1 for those images. So we might just be like, hey, this is the first pass on the images. You could always refresh the metadata again. And usually you want to clean up, you want to clean up all the NFTs. You want to make sure that, like, the colors are right. We're going to add little frames to them so you know what multipliers you got. We're going to have 10x multipliers on utilization rewards. We're going to have 7x, 5x, 3x, and 2x. So the way we've pretty much made it is everyone has a pretty good chance of getting some form of multiplier. Not everybody will, but we're trying to make the community happy. So how can we give out more for for you guys being part of the network? So I think it'll be pretty, like, statistically, if you were to buy like 3, pretty much at least one of those will have a multiplier, right? Of course, it's all random. So maybe all 3 have a multiplier. Maybe you don't get any multipliers, but we're trying to make it so that it's pretty exciting for everybody. The images are going to look great. We're working on, we've tried several AI models. We think Midjourney is kind of like the most robust right now, or like the one that can pretty much get the style like head on most of the time. The issue with Midjourney is that there's no API for it. So we can't really automate it as fast as we want to, but we're working around that. And I do think, absolutely worst case scenario, if the DApp is not fully integrated with our payment system, you'll still be able to interact with the DApp and just buy the DIN NFT with crypto. But so the 9th is what we're aiming for, and should be good to go with both credit card and crypto.
Sweet. Thanks, Manny. That was great. I'm talking about that. Blake asked, will the Deep Device owners get their NFT when the DIN sale goes live? So when you purchase it, the NFT will be, you'll purchase the NFT and it'll go into your wallet. The reveal will be later. So you will have the DIN NFT. But this rolls us into the second question as well. Can the mechanics of the DIN NFT be explained more? For example, if you purchase a DIN NFT but don't purchase the Deep Device when your batch becomes available, will your place in line remain available? Yes. So essentially we have 3 batches. So batch 1, 2, and 3. And so if you buy the first batch, you're going to be the first available when devices go on sale and we need to deploy those. Batch 1 will be there. And you're going to have a certain time frame, right? We're going to give it, let's say, 5 days. We'll give it a full work week or whatever. We don't know yet, but there will be a time frame the batch 1 will be given to get the devices. And then, obviously, if all batch 1 buys them, great. Most likely, that won't happen. So we'll need a certain time frame, and then we'll see, 60% of batch 1 bought. Now we need to roll into batch 2. If batch 1 comes in at that same time, they'll still have the ability to buy as well. But ultimately, we just need to get those devices out there. So it will go batch 1, 2, and 3 to answer that question. So let's see. Next question. When will we be able to run our own nodes / workloads on Deep devices? So to run your own workloads, that is in the roadmap, but it's definitely down the line. And essentially what you would be doing is you'd be purchasing a VM through the Deep network to run your own workloads on. So it is there, but that's not our main focus right now. Our main focus is getting as many workloads as possible onto the network that we can then bring in that income into the Deep network. So having people run their own stuff on the Deep network yet is not quite where we want to be at for a couple reasons. Security wise, right? We want to make sure, what we have right now is we are vetting people and companies that are running stuff on our network, and we want to keep it that way for the time being. As we progress, though, there will be options to open it up a little bit more freely, specifically to the people that want to do their own VMs. And really that opens up too is that time frame of, when we start opening up VMs like that, it opens up a whole nother market, right? That's the whole Web 2 ecosystem or the Web 3 ecosystem that is just buying AWS servers for other things, right? That makes it really easy for them at that point in time. So it is in the roadmap, but I wouldn't say you're going to start to see that until probably 2026. So to answer that question. Rusty, I want to ask you, are you keeping track of the questions in the chat? There's a few other ones as well. Let me see. So if you purchased a DIN NFT, you get the device. So Mr. Class, I'll answer that real quick because it's on the DIN NFT stuff. So when you purchase the DIN NFT, that is the software license. You do not get the device. You have to purchase the hardware itself, and that will come at a later date. we posted a whole series on what the DIN NFT is and why the roadmap of that, why we wanted the DIN NFT, and the time it takes from putting a deposit in with the manufacturer to when we actually can deploy the device. There's a long time frame, almost up to 18 weeks potentially, depending on everything that's going on. So you'll get the DIN NFT, that's the software license, and then you'll purchase the hardware later. So let's see. No, Mr. Classic. I'm going to talk about the playable stuff at the end, Mr. Classic. When is Deep Token going live? I'm not going to give you a date, just because I'll give you a date and then it's going to pass that date, or it's going to whatever. It just becomes a nightmare. So, but I will say this on the token. It is a priority, and we are working on token and token deployment. So it's not that we're not doing that side. There's a lot of integration that we want the token to do within the ecosystem. So what type of workloads will the Deep devices run? I think that's the next question that we have on the table. I'll answer that one too. So Deep devices right now, we're focused on the Web3 ecosystem. So, nodes, software nodes, validators, that's our main focus, to put that in there. And really because with NerdNode being a NAS, that's what it was ultimately running. So we can port those over and push those onto. We just had a call right before this with the team and, talking about that auto deployment from customer signs up all the way up into putting it onto Deep devices. And they were showing, some of the work that they've done and successes that they've had. So it's getting really exciting on that point in time. So if you really think about different workloads that are ran within the Web3 ecosystem, that is the beginning type of workloads that the Deep devices will run. Like I talked about earlier on is, can you run your own? But it flows into other workloads. So the other workloads that we will implement in is any type of VM type of service that's there, or there's a vast amount. Like there's so much. We got an RFP from a company earlier. RFP is request for proposal, and it was a fairly large proposal that they wanted to run on the Deep network. We're not quite there yet because it's very intensive with the type of stuff that they're integrating, but it is what we're working towards. And so there's a very huge demand in that field, and they were a Web3 company, but they're using Web2 services. And so we want to create that Web2 service on a Web3 network. So really at that point in time, you can just imagine the stuff that we can deploy out there. So let me make sure I'm looking at the chat stuff. Let's see here. Manny, mute yourself.
Justin asked about the card that came with the founder devices. And pretty much there's nothing you have to do with that. It's just an expansion card. Put that to the side. And then in the future, we might offer some upgrades where you can upgrade storage to be able to run some storage intense workloads. A lot of validators need a lot of storage for that. But nothing to do with it right now. It's just for the future.
I like the Deepin Crypto Network. Are you sure this is not financial advice? I do some other podcasts on other stuff. We just talk about markets and whatnot. So it was running through there on the bottom. But yeah, none of this is financial advice. You do what you want, right? Let's see here. Let me go to the next question. Thanks, Aaron, for that. All right. With the recent announcement of increased rewards with a separate IP, can you give any information on what type of multiplier it will be? So we're talking about it being a 5x multiplier for the IP itself. We want IP to be significant enough to where people feel comfortable with, because most people have to purchase extra IPs if they have those. And so we want to make sure that it is a significant increase on the utilization rewards. So that way, people feel comfortable with doing that. And we did it this way to take away the negative aspect and make it more of a positive impact, right? So before we were taking away your plugin rewards by half if you didn't have an IP. And instead of doing that, we're leaving plugins as they are, and we're giving bonuses to the utilization rewards. So So ultimately, yes. I hope that explained most of it. Did I miss anything on that, guys? All right. What is going on with the DAC? Any updates? Yeah. So right now, the DAC is pretty close to being finalized in terms of what we want to publish for you guys to start to look at. There's a few behind the scenes things of partnerships and whatnot that we're talking with people about that may impact how that looks. So we're just before we publish everything, we want to make sure we have all the ducks in a row. So I would assume here this month we're going to see some DAC information. We'll probably do a whole series on it. We talked a little bit about it in the tokenomics side. And we'll probably do another video on the DAC itself that'll give a more deep, no pun intended, look into what we want it to be, and really in terms of how it's going to operate. So yeah, I think that answered that. So Punjab, Deep Network, you should take the multiplier and throw it away. Pay for some work. Yeah, I mean, ultimately you are going to get, that is utilization is for work done on the device itself, right? So it's rewarding those people in that are plugged in. They have, if you read in the utilization, there's a lot that goes into getting into the pool of utilization, 99% uptime, obviously, if you have an IP, you're going to get a multiplier. So utilization rewards are rewarding those people that are doing work. So, and that's on top of the hosting rewards, right? So if you're hosting something on your device, you're going to get 50% of that. So out of the 3 rewards, 2 of those are rewarding work. And plugin rewards, essentially, we need a way to seed the ecosystem with deep tokens. So that's why we have plugin rewards in that sense. So. Does the Deep Network believe they are staffed properly to manage the anticipated demand from the project? What are the plans to scale staff as needed? That's a great question. And to be completely honest, I have been in business for quite a while. Same with Ben, Chris. We've done a lot of things, and I would venture to say that almost every company, outside of when you're like funded with billions of dollars and you're overstaffed, like Twitter came in and fired 80% of the staffers, right? Any startup that comes in is understaffed. You can go a million different ways. But with that said, we've got 4 new people, maybe just in the last month, 4 new people. Yeah. So we've brought in 4 new contractors internally. We've got plans to hire more. Because we are anticipating a lot more workloads on board. We have a couple cool things that are going to be announced this month that's going to bring in, some extra work. It's also going to take away some of our work on our end, but you'll see how that flip rolls out. But right now, as a startup, we're understaffed. Like we could use, 10 more people. But we want to make sure when we do hire, we're hiring them. We got to train them, put them in the positions that we need them to do. We got some great people. Like we were just on our team meeting, we were talking about one of the guys that, he just started last week, and it was his first real full-time week. And like the stuff he was spitting out was amazing. So we definitely are looking at what's coming up and what we need to do to make sure that we're, hitting metrics and, putting stuff forward for you guys. So, yeah, a lot of hiring going on. Let's see. How will you ensure nodes coming on board in the future have a more seamless onboarding process for workloads? Yeah, that's a great question. I think it kind of is looking at the deep side, the grid node that was launched recently. So, kind of want to touch on that, and it'll roll into the other node workloads. So, the grid node that was deployed when we had a partnership with Grid, essentially, I'm going to put that in quotations because there was a lot of miscommunication coming from their end. And, again, I'll take responsibility. Maybe we didn't ask the right questions or we weren't clear in what was going on here. But we got 0 information on any of the workload that was coming to the network itself. When we have premier partners like that we work with, we're pretty upfront with them on what it is that we want to do, right? We want Nerd Node and Deep Network to be a test bed. So when you are pushing out updates, you can utilize us for that in our team to, see here's what's going on here. But with that, we want to work in conjunction with you to make sure that we have, all the tech stack information so we can deploy your node for your clients and give them their uptime. There's a lot of speculation that can go on with this because we didn't know this until really close to it, that their partnership of who developed the node was EaseFlow, which is a node as a service provider. They do a great job for people, but the way they developed the node, when you look at other node ecosystems out there, they made it very difficult to deploy this node. And it could be done on purpose because they have the information. They're the ones that developed it, maybe. But we're working on that. That was honestly, out of all the nodes we've deployed, this has been the most difficult one. So it's definitely created a lot of work for Ben and the team on the back end. 18-hour days working a boatload, and Aaron can attest to a lot of the work that's been pushed onto him because of that. So most workloads that come on board aren't that difficult. So, and we are building internally a very seamless way that we can deploy these workloads that doesn't take a lot of time, but it takes a lot of building of the network from the ground up to get it to that point in time. So hope that answered that question. Rusty, why don't you take when will his founder's device start earning?
So right now the devices are accumulating tokens. If you go into your Deep dashboard, you can get the link from the Discord. And you need to make sure the device is active or online once a day. It might go between alive, failed, missed ping. That's completely normal. And as long as you see it's alive once a day and the days online is showing up, your devices are earning great. And at TGE, you will be able to claim your tokens. And it's about 330 deep per day online is, I believe, what it calculates to. So you can kind of get an estimate like that.
Cool. Thanks, Rusty. Somebody talked about the Playable partnership. I want to kind of touch on that. We are not an official partner with them internally. That doesn't mean we're not running workloads. We are running their workloads. We actually run a lot of their workloads. The scenario came down again with the deployment of it. There wasn't a lot of working with our team. It was just pushing out updates to our team. And the way we run, or the way we were running the back end of our system itself, every time they made I can't remember the term for it, a certain type of update, it would take down all of the devices, and we'd have to spin them all back up. And for the Playable side, we didn't want to put it into the automated system because we just didn't know what they were pushing to us, right? We didn't know what their code was. And we've had experiences with other companies, Gala specifically, where they would push a certain code out to us without it being tested, and it brought down all of our entire system. So we had to relaunch all of those internal VMs. So they didn't like the way we were operating on our end. We were being very cautious with their updates they pushed towards us. So we weren't working fast enough for them. So they took away the official partnership, but we're still running nodes, and we're doing a really good job of keeping everybody's nodes up, even when they are having their own issues on their end. We're still working tirelessly to make sure those are up there. And honestly, the partnership will probably come back around down the road. So if that kind of answers your question. So.
And we're still hosting the nodes. We're going to continue hosting the Playable for the foreseeable future.
TG, token generation event, MDK 777. It's just term that they use in here. Herman Anderson, good question. What will change after TGE? So after TGE, right now, there's no token in the ecosystem. After TGE, there will be a token in the ecosystem, and that token will be needed to purchase workloads on the Deep network. So with that comes a couple different things. One is 30 to 60 days after, you'll see utilization rewards come on board, because again, you need to be able to utilize the actual devices themselves, and also your shared workloads will come on board. So when you're running a Gala node for $8 a month or $10 a month or whatever it's going to be, you're going to get 50% of that. So That's the biggest change. That's what we're really building for, and we're really excited about. There's going to be a ton of questions on, how do you get your token from your device? What can I do with my token? People are going to ask about exchanges. We're not actively pursuing a centralized exchange for the when TGE drops. We want it to be a natural occurrence on decentralized exchanges to be able to get that stuff. So people are going to ask about that. They're going to ask, how do I swap my token? How do I get it from here to there? What chain is it on? I mean, once that token drops, there's going to be a whole boatload of questions. And in Manny and the crew back here, we've got we're going to be putting a ton of stuff, a ton of content together to make sure that everybody knows, like, here's some answers to questions. And even then, there's still going to be other answers that we're going to have to go through. So, Rusty, can you answer or ask MDK777 about the router and the open ports?
Oh, okay. So currently, to get your full rewards, your full plugin rewards, you don't have to be forwarded, and you don't have to do you don't have to do a DMZ or any of those other options. You're fully earning. But at TGE, you're going to have to be port forwarding.
Thanks, Rusty. Yeah, Raw Mega. How's testing going? Are we really on pace for TGE's fall? Yes, we are on pace for TGE this fall. So, and the testnet's going, like we just, again, was speaking about it earlier. We just had a meeting with the team. Lynn was showing us like end-to-end production of workloads being deployed onto the network itself. We don't want to put a token out there without the utility of it, right? So if we didn't have actual workloads being deployed on the devices, that's our number one work right now, is making sure that these workloads are deployable, they're auto deployable, they're redundant. There's a lot of work that goes into that, and it's going really well. Lynn, who's one of our new hires, he's our head of engineering. We brought him on a few months ago. He's great. I met him in person down in Austin. Anyways, a lot of work's going into that. Testnet's looking great. We're doing a lot of things. The stuff like the grid stuff that came out, it definitely took us back a couple days in terms of what we're doing, because it was a lot of work trying to get through their node that they had on there. So, but yeah, ultimately things are going great. Let's see here. Any other questions I'm missing, guys? He's asking about Telegram. I mean, Telegram is one of those things. It's another one. You got Discord, you got Telegram, you've got all these places, and really we push a lot of our stuff onto Discord itself. And we feel we could be very clear, give a lot of information on there. Once we start to open up another app or whatever it is, like a Telegram, like Manny said, it just opens up a whole nother 1 to 2 people we have to hire to manage that, especially as we get bigger. It's not a simple thing of just one person's over there monitoring the Telegram. We got to make sure you get and Telegram's rife with great scammers all the time. Like, I mean, Discord too for it, no joke. But we've got to make sure we have people that are monitoring it and getting off it. And if we add that to it, just adds a whole nother workload to our team that we don't need right now. So in the future, maybe, but right now we won't be adding Telegram for a while. And with that, Rusty, we talked about that too, in terms like port forwarding, IP address stuff. Like, we're going to do some series of, information, hopefully with Ben, probably with Lynn too, on some stuff where we get them in front of the camera, talk about specific questions that people have, so we can put it into short videos for people to understand a lot easier on how they can operate these things. So. Godson, appreciate all the contributions that you guys make. I mean, the community is awesome. We love you guys. We're working our asses off. Trust me. And I have it way easier than when you start talking about people like Ben and Lynn and and the rest of the tech team on the back end. Rusty's been working overtime back here, learning a whole bunch of new stuff. And I don't know, have you slept yet, Rusty?
I don't sleep. What is sleep?
What is sleep?
Like that Red Bull.
Oh man, dude. The team, I appreciate their work, man. This, and I've said this a million times. The team with Nerd Node and Deep right now is my favorite team I've worked with. Like, they're top notch individuals. They've been around. You know, when you look at the founders, they've been around a lot of business stuff, and you know, they're very, very seasoned. And then the rest of the crew, Manny, Aaron, you know, Lynn, like the work that they have, the work ethic they have, and communication is great. Just they get all my love. Everything that's going on here is because of these guys. So let's see. If we purchase a device before the NFTs were a thing, will we still get one? Yeah. So Luke Kennedy. So every Deep device right now that's been out there, that's been sold, you will get a DIN NFT drop to your account. So you have the, you know, essentially the 3-word phrase that's going to create this NFT in terms of like the visuals. But when we drop it to the device itself, you're going to get one. You don't have to purchase one. So everybody that purchases a founder's device will get an NFT sent to them. So, all right. What do we got? Anything else? That was a quick one.
What are your thoughts on people who have been interested or asking questions about speculating on those DIN NFTs?
Yeah, I mean, I know it's probably going to happen. You know, speculation. It's a crypto market, right? Like, you guys do what you want with them; they're yours. Like, we're, you know, but we need them out there to be able to run a device. So, and we're trying to set it up to where, you know, we don't get as many or any, hopefully, large bulk buyers of the DIN NFTs, to make sure that it's more fair across there. But, you know, people might want a certain device. Like, I don't know, I got a couple boxes over here that probably got names on them somewhere, but maybe you want the camel, or what's Chris like? What's his damn NFT he wants to make?
Anglerfish.
Chris wants to make an anglerfish. I don't know. Chris is kind of crazy, but hey, but yeah, so you might want the anglerfish. Chris will go out there and he's going to purchase the anglerfish because he wants that for his device, right? And this is kind of our way to kind of sprinkle a little extra Web3 into the ecosystem, right? We're building a real world utility with the network itself. Like, the network is our number one 100% focus. And we're, you know, utilizing Web3 as this platform to create revenue, which we already have with Nerd Node. It's there. And so we want to utilize some of the Web3 stuff that's out there and get people excited too, because people, you know, still like NFTs. Some people think they're dead, you know, but we're actually going to use the NFT and might as well have like some cool art that can go with it. Manny is an artist himself, so he's excited to really kind of help create that and move that forward. So yeah. Does that answer your question? Let's see.
Can you comment on pricing, Manny?
Yeah, Manny. Comment on pricing.
I did.
Yes, I'll give you the full breakdown. So the first 10,000 devices, that's tier 1. If you look at our light paper. So that's all the first 10,000 devices, tier 1. Then tier 2 would be 10,000 to 20,000, all the way to 50,000. And pretty much plug-in rewards get cut in half every tier. So we're in tier 1, but there's 3 releases. So we'll have tier 1 release 1. That's 533 NFTs, and they're for 250. Now there's a maximum amount, so each wallet could only, I think it's one wallet could only hold 5% of the entire release. So out of the first release of 533, I think one wallet could have 27 max. Then the price goes up by $100. So release 2 of tier 1 will be 693 NFTs, and the price for that would be 350. Then the max amount goes up because the amount grew. So the max amount that a single wallet could hold is 35. And then release 3 for tier 1 would be 901 NFTs, and it'll go up $100 more. So it'll be 450. and then the maximum amount individual wallet could have would be 45. So, oh, and what we want to do is we want to release all 3 releases at the same time, because maybe somebody wants to buy 50 NFTs. I don't know. And they wouldn't be able to do that with each release. So maybe they could buy 27 from release 1 and then 33 from release 2, or 3, something like that. And yes, we are aware that someone could, in theory, just make a bunch of wallets and bot the system. But I think most people that are going to buy these are the people that are going to want to buy the hardware, because a lot of people want to buy the hardware. So this is essentially just getting your place in line and putting the deposit for the license. Yeah.
Let's see. I just got a couple questions. Answered that one. Yeah. So rarities have multipliers. We'll put out a graphic for the rarities and the multipliers that'll go with it. So again, it's sprinkling a little bit of Web3 into the ecosystem. And I want to touch on the there was a couple questions like, do you feel like it's going to hinder the deployment of these devices rather than make it quicker? Well, one of the main things that we're getting with the DIN NFT sale is the ability to put the deposit down with the manufacturer, right? So as a startup, we gotta weigh 2 things. One is what do we do with hiring new people and everything along those lines. And then when we take money out of our pocket to put a deposit down on these devices with the manufacturer, which they like to see at least 30%, and they don't like to give credit because they don't like Web3. So it kind of goes that route, but essentially allows us to get that deposit in, which is the first biggest step, right, to go that route. As we get to the point of people having to log in and deploy that device, we'll be able to, that's why we're doing 3 series as well. So 1, 2, and 3, because it will really allow us to see, what is that actually doing in the ecosystem? Are people hoarding it and not wanting to sell it? Is that going to be a thing that happens? I don't think so. We're not a hyped up, Bored Apes or anything along those lines that's doing an NFT collection. So I don't think it's going to be hoarded. I think you're going to see people that are passionate about the project that are going to buy some and have them, and then be able to either deploy them or then sell them to somebody to deploy when it's that time. So, but again, this is also an experiment on that side. But we have the ability to change and move in a different direction if all of a sudden we need 1,000 devices and nobody's really logging in to get those devices on the network. If we need that many devices, here's the thing that's going on with you guys too, is you're earning, right? In hosting rewards, your utilization rewards, you're earning. So if we have to expand the network, you're earning well, and you're talking about it. People are talking about it on there. So there is going to be a demand for people wanting to buy these NFTs to be able to get that hardware device delivered to their house. Because the moment we have that, everybody's going to be excited about it. So let's see. He answered the question on where it's going to be at. It'll be on the Deep website. That's where the DIN NFTs will be for sale. So you go through there. Let's see here. Yeah. Just looking for other questions in here. What's this one here? Sorry.
Dang is asking to kind of counter some of the speculation. What about making a shorter time limit to activate the and purchase the Deep device?
Yeah, I think we can't make it go too long, right? So if once we get to the point in time where we need the devices purchased, so again, there's a time frame there of deposit with the manufacturer. They are then, manufacturing the devices, with our operating system on there. So that takes time before they would even be shippable. And then there's the moment in time where you buy them and then they ship potentially directly from the manufacturer at that time, that'd be great. If it's the same as it is now, we either send it to one of our a place that we have in the EU or here, and then we ship it off to you. So what we've learned a lot in that time frame of the ability to get these devices to people, and then and how we can do that. The other thing nobody's asking is expansion into different actual countries and stuff too. So that's something that should be exciting for you guys too. When we start talking about people that want the devices, there's whole other countries and whatnot that we're going to open up that we can sell into as well. So.
And then the physical devices work in every country, guys. Just a reminder. It's just that's just for kind of like shipping it and customs and some certifications. Like if you have a friend in America and you live in, say, Mexico, and you if we don't ship to Mexico, your friend could bring the device on a plane if he comes to visit you in Mexico or something like that. They work in every country.
Yeah. Do we have a list of countries, Manny? We put that out a while ago, didn't we? Or did we just put the number of countries?
I have some information. Let me pull it up if you want to keep answering some questions while I look for it.
Did I answer the shorter time limit? I mean, to activate the identity? Yeah, I think we can make it shorter at certain points in time. So, So this guy, God sent 007. He said he got mine shipped to the UK and got my daughter to deliver it to Africa. So we had a lot of people doing similar stuff. There's actual services out there that'll do the same thing. So we just personally want to make sure what we're doing on our end, we are, when we're bringing it in and we're shipping it, we're licensed to be able to do that. Because the last thing we want to do is then have some country be like, you can't do that. It gets held up in customs or whatnot. So,
as of January 23rd, we have here's the list that I have: Australia, Austria, Belarus, Belgium, Bosnia, and I don't know how to say
Herzegovina.
Yes, Bulgaria, Croatia, Czechia, Denmark, Estonia, Faroe Islands, Finland, France, Germany, Gibraltar, Greece. I don't know how to say some of these. Such an American. Vatican City, Hungary, Iceland, Ireland, Isle of Man, Italy, Japan, Jersey, Latvia, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Malta, Moldova, Monaco, the Netherlands, New Zealand, North Macedonia, Norway, Poland, Portugal, Romania, Russia, San Marino, Serbia, Slovenia, Spain, Sweden, Switzerland, Ukraine. I'm not sure if that's still okay, but UK and USA.
How many is that?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I thought you had an Excel sheet to give you a number already. All right, I'm gonna answer one more question here, and then I'm gonna be down because I got a call. I got to get myself ready for it. I think we did a lot here, but MDK777 asks speculation on tokenomics and exchanges. Well, I can tell you right now, there is no speculation on exchanges. We have exchanges that have reached out to us. We've talked to exchanges. Exchanges will most likely be something down the road. They just won't be in a thing at TGE or any time soon after TGE. It'll probably be that 30 to 60 days after. And then speculation on tokenomics. Like, we built the tokenomics because it has a flywheel effect in place. This is why our main focus is the workloads on the devices to start. You got to make sure that is running seamlessly. So your devices are running workloads and you're getting paid for those workloads. Again, the shared hosting is the main source that we want you guys to be focused on. So you can look at your device and say, my shared income that comes from this device is X dollars, right? Because I'm running so many workloads. You can see that. We want to make sure that is the key component there. And once you have that, I mean, that's the market for deep. And then when you start to see everything else that we start to build out on top of that, it gets kind of exciting. So 54 countries, Rusty says. And then apparently Vatican City, the Pope has one. He picked it up in Chicago when he was over here, and then took it over there with him. So awesome. All right, guys, let's end it there. Let's wrap it up. Thanks everybody for joining. Appreciate all the questions. If you have more questions, ping them in the Discord. If we can't answer them, we've got some great community members that have been stepping in too. We appreciate all that help. So, anything else? Great. All right, guys. Take care, and we'll chat again later.